Presented by Church Tech U, it's the ProPresenter Show. On today's show, how to use Companion on your Stream Deck with the ProPresenter API. Hi, and welcome again to the ProPresenter Show. This is the show where I teach you all about ProPresenter. My name's Paul Allen Clifford. And before we get started, if you've ever run into an issue where you were trying to control ProPresenter with Companion and it didn't work, or you're just getting into controlling ProPresenter with Companion, go ahead, give me a like, thumbs up, etc. And while you're at it, why don't you join the over 11,000 other people who have subscribed to this channel and clicked on the little bell icon. So a while back, I made a tutorial on how to use the built-in ProPresenter integration with Companion. Put that on the Stream Deck, and you just had great control. Well, thanks to Dan Owen, who wrote that, that was a result of him kind of reverse engineering the ProPresenter API, which wasn't public at the time that he created it. Since then, Renewed Vision has released a public API that allows you to control ProPresenter, but it's a little different than what they used to use. So, as of more recent versions, sometimes it wasn't so much working. So I thought that I would make a new tutorial to show you how to use the API with Companion until there is kind of a module that does it natively. So let's head over to my computer and we'll take a look. So this is ProPresenter. Actually, it's 7.13.1. It could be that sometime in the future you're watching it and you're on ProPresenter 7.14 or something else, and maybe this isn't necessary anymore, but as of right now it is. So first thing we need to do is we need to find the port number that ProPresenter expects to control itself. So let's head over to ProPresenter and then Settings if you're on macOS Ventura or later, or if you're on Windows or an earlier version of macOS, then Ventura, then you can go to ProPresenter Preferences. It's the exact same thing, it's just a different word. So let's do that. Now let's go to Network. Okay, this is the important part right there, port. First off, make sure that network is enabled. That is important as well. But notice how it says 1025 on my machine. Could be that it's 50,001 or some other number. Doesn't matter what number it is, as long as you know what number that is. So I'm just going to highlight it like I've just done and copy it, just as if it's text. I'm also going to keep it in mind, just in case that didn't copy over. And now I'm going to go to openapi.propresenter.com. So if we go there and I just hit the paste shortcut, Command V on a Mac or Control V on Windows, it should just paste that in there. If not, I could have just typed that in. So just a little something to know, this local host, that basically means this same computer. Nice and simple. So if you're doing this with the same computer that ProPresenter is on, as long as ProPresenter is running and the network checkbox is checked, it should work fine. Now, if it's a different computer, then you might have to put in the IP address of the ProPresenter computer, colon, and then the port, and make sure that that port is opened in the firewall, in the software firewall. So assuming all that's true, then this should work. Now, let's say that I want to know what is the currently active announcement presentation. So I'm actually using the announcement layer for this one, so I expect that I'll find that pretty simple. Pretty simply, sorry about that. So I'm going to click the down arrow and then click Try It Out. And now I click Execute, and it does it and gives me some information here. The important information right here is it tells me the URL that it sent to ProPresenter. Just looks like a web address, right? Very simple. You've probably typed in a web address a billion times, except instead of google.com or whatever, it says localhost and then colon and then that port number that we just put in. From there on, it's pretty simple. V1, I think that's version 1 of the API, so in the future they might update that. Announcement says the announcement layer, active, question mark, chunked, false. That tells you this information up here. But if we scroll down here, then it should tell me that we're on the 210112 TV announcement presentation, which is actually true. So that's a kind of important little piece of information if I wanted it. So all of these commands kind of follow this same format. But there's also another piece of information here that we're going to need, and that is get. Hey there, aspiring ProPresenter Pro. Are you tired of getting tangled up in tech trouble? Want to impress your congregation with mind-blowing visuals? Well, look no further. Introducing ProPresenter 7 training at Church Tech U, your secret weapon for unlocking ProPresenter's full potential. Join me as I dive into the world of captivating presentations, smooth transitions, and jaw-dropping effects. From beginner basics to advanced tips and tricks, I've got you covered. Don't miss out on this amazing opportunity. Visit churchtechu.com/free trial for a free month now. Did I mention it's free? And revolutionize your ProPresenter game. Your congregation will thank you. So I could send this as a get, as a put, etc. You don't need to know what any of those mean. Just pay attention to that because we're going to need it here in just a moment. So now if I go over to Companion, if you don't have Companion, you could get it by going to bitfocus.io. You will need a login for it, but that's a free login, so just sign up, log into it, download it, etc. So once you've installed it on your computer, they've got a version for Mac, they've got a version for Windows, they've even got a version for Raspberry Pi. So you can go ahead, grab that. Now what we're going to do, having done that, is we need a connection. Now I've already got all the connections that I'm going to use, but let me show you the one that you're going to want to add, HTTP. And it's the generic HTTP requests one. So you click add, and it will add this one right here that says HTTP generic, etc. Now click on edit here, and what we're going to paste in here for base URL is either 127.0.0.1, which means localhost, or localhost, right there, colon, and then that same port number. So it will always be the same for the very first part of this command. Okay? Very simple. Click Save. You're good. Now the next thing we need to do is we need to find a button that we're going to put it on. So let me show you what button I've been playing with and why I've been playing with that. So let's go to page 13, my lucky number. Okay. And then, oh, sorry, it was page 9. Okay, so this is the button that I've been playing with. So at the end of this tutorial, I'm going to say, if you like this content, blah, 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 right? What I want is I want the this lower third that I have in ProPresenter to come up from wherever I am in the presentation, because sometimes I'm talking about a song, sometimes I'm talking about a sermon file, sometimes I'm talking about something else. No matter what, I want to register that I'm going to that particular slide in the particular presentation. So how I did that is this command right here. So again, version 1 of the API, I'm looking for a library. The library I'm looking for is youth. The presentation within that library is tutorial open, and the slide is number 6. Now you might notice it says 5. That's because the slides in the API, the first slide is not slide 1, it is slide 0. I don't know exactly why they did that in the API, but keep that in mind, that you basically just subtract 1 from whatever slide you actually want to trigger, and then you put in the word trigger. So let me show you that in the ProPresenter API. So I'm just going to do Command F for find and type in library. And that's going to take me down here, and this is the, no, it was actually this one, the bottommost one. Notice how, by the way, I've got get, post, put, delete. I've got other options. So if you're doing some other operation, remember that. So what I'm going to do is expand that out. And notice that I've got various names here. I can do the UUID, which is a bunch of this gobbledygook. I can look that up using the API, but the advantage here is I can look by name. So I can type in the library name, and same thing for the presentation. So I can type in the presentation name. And for the index, remember that's slide number -1 basically. So that makes it nice and easy to know where that is. So if I click try it out, then I can get in and change all those values. And having changed those, I can click execute. So going back to ProPresenter, this is the slide that I eventually want to trigger, but what I'm actually doing is I'm triggering this one, which has a go to next timer on it. Reason I'm doing that is I'm doing a couple of things real quick before it puts that up, like clearing everything except the announcement layer, making sure that I fire off that macro. I think, oh yeah, that makes sure that I'm on that particular macro. Make sure that I am on the look that I want, so that's why I've got that there. So both of those things happen, and then this macro actually puts the key in and fires this video that has alpha on it, so it's got transparency. So let me, knowing that this is here, notice since I'm in a playlist, it tells me what library it's in, youth with the capital Y, and then this is the name of the presentation, tutorial open. You can put in the web kind of shortcut that says space there between those two, but you don't have to. I've tried it both ways. It works both ways. So just make sure that it's spelled exactly the same way with the capitalization and such. And then the slide you want, -1 for the slide number. So going back here, remember library name, youth, presentation name. I've forgotten what the presentation name is already. Tutorial open. So I'm going to go back here. Tutorial open. And notice when I start typing, it says modified value. So in case you forget whether you have typed that in or not. And then index is, as I say, the number of the slide -1 or you could start counting them 0, 1, 2, 3, etc. So now I can click execute, and it will actually do that. And it gives us the name here. If I'm going to put it on a button, I just need to copy from V1 on. So Command C on a Mac or Control C on Windows, doesn't matter. Go back here, and then I can paste that in there. Now, let me remember how I said that it matters whether it's a get or whatever. So I'm just going to click on another button here. Decide that's a regular button. I could type in whatever text I wanted. Then when I search, I'm just going to type in get. And look, it has that as an option. So I'm going to scroll down here. We can ignore header input JSON, and I can just paste that. And now when I tap on that button, it will go to slide 7, because remember, it's the number of the slide minus 1 is the number right here. So the number of the slide converted from here, just add 1 to it either way. So it would go to slide 7, and that is this guy. So I'm going to put that, tap that. Okay, that should do it. You'll see that when I press the button, that lights up. But for some reason, that didn't trigger. So I'm going to just double check. Oh, I bet I see. Right there, I typed open with a capital O. That's an important thing. I'm going to put in lowercase o. And then we're going to try it again. Watch this for when I hit it, and we should see that URL pop up right there. And there it is. So that's how that did that. It's going to play it through, then it's going to make it go away here. I do have a few too many tabs open in Chrome, so that's hogging my memory for ProPresenter. So things are a little more sluggish than I would like them. But that's how I could do that. So I'm not limited to that. I've got all kinds of other things. As I said, this is to select a specific slide within a presentation, so it can be any slide number within that presentation. But first you've got to tell it, yes, we're looking in a library, we're looking for a specific library, and within that library we have a specific presentation, and then you tell it which. Now if you just wanted the very first slide, you could leave off this number and just go directly to that. This would give you a list of everything in a library. You know, we have all kinds of different choices of things that we could do. We could start capture status. So that's something that a lot of people want to do, is have a button where you could automatically start ProPresenter live streaming or start ProPresenter recording. And so you could do that. I've also got a tutorial on how to trigger Companion from ProPresenter, so you could have a macro that triggers a button in ProPresenter and sends that. There's a different way to do it in Windows than to do it in Mac OS, and I haven't made that one, but we've got a lot of power here with this, and really they've done a lot of great work. In general, the only limitation is your imagination. So just look through all the possibilities, decide what buttons you want to create, and do that in ProPresenter 7 so that you can control it with Companion. If you like this content, Hey, watch this. I'm going to hit the button I created earlier. If you like this content, you'd probably like my ProPresenter 7 Quick Start course, so head on over to TDM.fyi/pro, the number 7, and quick. Give me your name and email address, and I'll make a login for you for free. Until next time, this is Paul Allen Clifford from TrinityDigitalMedia.com and ChurchTechU.com, reminding you to go out and change eternity.